In the beginning, God pulled mankind as man and woman from the dust of material creation. And he gave us authority over the sum of his created universe, telling us to name the created things, to work, to tend the garden, to finish creation. And this work was without labor, and the work was good. And God walked in the garden and conversed with us, co-creating together. But man desired to be God. And in that pride, it drove a rift in creation. Not only have we fallen, not only do we need redemption, creation has fallen because God gave us authority over creation. He said, creation is yours to name. So, we're in need of a rebirth, of a reawakening from the dust of death, and creation in need of redemption. In essence, we're in need of a renaissance. Renaissance always comes, by the way, when times seem to be their darkest. Because when it's dark, man calls out to God, and when man calls out to God, God comes and helps man. What are the ingredients of a renaissance? 1, a land for God and his people. It always happens in a place, a time of hardship and trial, a system in need of renewal, a united people. Kings and financiers are there. There's got to be money, and fervent prayer and faith. So, the first renaissance, the building of Solomon's temple. Roughly 300 years after the Exodus, Solomon, David's son, built the first great temple of the people of God. In Solomon's temple was reordering creation because they came to understand the Father, the one God, the Father, through Solomon's temple. The temple was a renaissance in architecture that used physical space, beauty, and design to create the jewel of Israel and the spiritual gravity among the nations, reorienting the peoples to the world, to the Father again, in worship and awe. So now let's talk about the redemption of man in the first evangelization. Through the incarnation, all things are revealed to us, and in the cross we're redeemed, made whole, and placed again in the garden with the tree of life. It's no coincidence that our Lord appeared when he appeared, where he appeared, on the edge of an empire that had built roads all over the world, uniting the people of the world, because you need united people for Renaissance. He just got to know 12 guys, and those 12 guys set out and walked that road system, and at the speed of walking, it took 200 years for an empire to become a church. After the first evangelization, the church was one. And it was strong, but it fell under attack from Viking armies to the north and the west, attack from Moors to the east and south, attack from schism and heresies within, attack from rebellion and reformation. The spirit of the world rallied against the church and tried to bring her to her knees. And amidst all of this, a new world was discovered, with problems that threw the old into chaos. Countries became empires. The perception of the world changed among its inhabitants. The empires of kings challenged the empire of Christendom, and Europe was cast into chaos and darkness. And as the unity of the church was torn apart, coming out of the Dark Ages, there was a light, and the light burned in the West. The Italian Renaissance and the evangelization of the Americas. We have two great images of Mary that come within 35 years of each other. The Pietà of Michelangelo and Our Lady of Guadalupe on the Tilma. These two creations, a world apart, exemplify the reawakening that was taking place in renewing the church at a time of crisis. The singular drive of the Italian Renaissance was that in studying man, we can come to understand the divine. As the Reformation was waging war against the cultural renaissance to the south, as kings were naming themselves their own popes, and theses were being hammered to doors, as Christians were losing sight of the unity we needed to bring about renewal and redemption, we saw the spirit of the Renaissance move from Europe into the New World. St. Junipero Serra, a son of the Renaissance, though from Spain, he took Renaissance Europe and planted it in the New World. In established cities like San Diego, Los Angeles, the boom of content in Hollywood in Los Angeles is coming out of the Renaissance that went from the old world to the new. San Francisco, the digital explosion that's happening in California. And there's a new platform, a new interconnected world, just like the Roman road system that exists today, that is coming out of the fruits of the Renaissance, but orienting itself away from God. And just like the Roman roads, we have the opportunity to get in there and orient it back to God. What if the disciples today actually started a full-force missionary effort, a campaign with the Spirit of God to bring forth a new renaissance on the digital continent? If that happened, the effects would be extraordinary. It took roughly a couple hundred years since the death and resurrection of Christ for an empire to become a church, and that was traveling at the speed of walking. If we're traveling at the speed of digital, how long will it take for the church to transform? I'd like to issue this challenge. What if the people in this room committed to unity, committed to fervent prayer for a renaissance of the digital continent, and committed to entering into the fray? We could transform the world in 10 years. Realistically, 10 years. Took Facebook 15, we can do it in 10. We've got the saints behind us. Let's do it.